I am Deborah Provenzano. I'm an Associate Professor of Library Services here at the Ammerman campus of Suffolk County Community College. I grew up in a small town on the north shore of Suffolk County, Kings Park. I knew at a very young age that I was attracted to women, and by a very young age, I'm going to guess I was probably 6 or 7 when I had crushes on women. I guess I'm lucky that I didn't really have to take that big giant leap of coming out. When I was 16, I started to date a woman, and we were together pretty much morning, noon, and night. So people just started surmising, and I graduated high school at 17, so I had a little more freedom at that point. When you graduate, you do get that freedom. And actually my father, who is a very cool gentleman, asked me, he said, "So, what's the deal? Are you gay?" It was kind of a relief for me, and I remember going, yes, I am. I was lucky. I didn't really have to come out to my parents. Coming out to, I think, parents in particular is a hard thing for people to do. So I had that benefit. Then coming out to the rest of the world, friends, community members, college classmates when I finally did go to college, was easy. How did I feel about being gay when I finally realized what the name of my attraction to women was? Which I probably knew all along what it was called. I think I actually felt relieved. I felt relieved that there was a name, that there were lots of other people with this name. I wasn't alone. I started to maybe come out of my shell a little bit, feel more comfortable with myself, accepting of myself. I started to make friends who were very much like me, and I started to meet gay and lesbian people, go dancing with people who I could relate to and who could relate to me. So I think I felt relieved. At the workplace, I have to say, since I've started Suffolk Community College, and it's been a long time, I've always felt very comfortable being out here with my colleagues, with my students when it's a necessity to discuss those sorts of things, and even with administration. I'd say the mistreatment I felt was probably just little kind of digs. I would say by the time I was 22, I didn't hear many of those digs, and I was much more confident in myself. So if I did hear them, I really didn't care. I knew I was great. What advice would I give to today's youth who are discovering their sexuality? Well, the first thing I would do is to make sure they know that it's okay to be exactly who they are. Shakespeare said, "To thine own self be true." It's a good thing to be true to yourself, to be who you are, to know who you are, love yourself, adore yourself, surround yourself by friends, find support if you need it. Whether that's a family member, an aunt, an uncle, a brother, a sister, maybe your best friend's mother or father, a teacher, a counselor, a facility such as Legally, Long Island Gay and Lesbian Youth. Find support if you need it, because you're not alone, and there's always somebody there. Do not isolate yourself. It gets so much better. Sometimes it gets better overnight. And sometimes it gets better in a year. But it absolutely, positively, without a doubt, gets better, so much better. I have a wonderful life. I have everything I've ever dreamed of having. I have a loving family. I have a job that I adore. I have students that I relate to, that can relate to me. I have a home that I'm happy with. I have pets that I'm happy with. It really does get better. I'm really happy that the It Gets Better videos have been developed, because sometimes the only thing that a 12 or 13 or 14-year-old will do to find out information is to Google information. So if they're watching some YouTube videos about It Gets Better and they see somebody that they can relate to and that they believe maybe that's going to save that person's life, because there are now students, GLBT students, as young as 13 years old, who are killing themselves because they're afraid, because they're gay, because they're harassed, they're bullied. So I'm really happy that this project has gained worldwide fame.